Today's show is really going to hit close to home for a lot of us. Mr. Shabazz is here to talk to us about his son, who is wrongfully incarcerated for something that he did not do. This subject is something that I am very familiar with. I have a cousin who has been in jail since he was 18, and there's evidence that proves that he didn't do the crime. They also know who did the crime, but unfortunately, he's still sitting behind bars and he doesn't need to be there. So Mr. Shabazz is here today to share with us his son's story and all the details that he has. Plus, there is something that the courts are not allowing him to admit into the courts. I don't know the technical name, but would definitely get his son off, and that is DNA.
The only podcast coming through your beat stereo is Cherie's World, so let's go around like a merry-go. Plug your phone in, make sure it got a full battery. Download it Wednesday, listen to it Saturday. She cover all topics, whatever you after. She got ball players, authors, doctors, actors, rappers, singers, entrepreneurs, divas, leaders. Androids or Apple, turn up your speakers. Trying to shoot my shot like the vaccine. Whether it's Cherie or Maxine, whether the podcast or acting, she that queen. PYT, you know what that mean. Saw you on TV and touch the screen. Touch on you, I plead Lil C's got a crush on you. It'll mean the world to get a blush from you. Teaspoon to me, leave you sleep like Robitussin do.
So Mr. Shabazz, can you tell us about your little boy?
Well, you know, he's been incarcerated over 20 years now. So he's grown up in prison. And basically, Ali was a good kid, you know what I'm saying? He was growing up, you know, and he was doing a few things with his life, and I brought him to Georgia to get him out of New Jersey, you know, for him to slow down a little bit and help me in my business. And we were going along good, and man, I came back from a trip, and it was that's what happened, you know. Well, right down to the incident, they accused him of raping 2 young girls. And the whole situation, I'm just looking at it again, reading it. It's happened in May 2001. And it's one girl said he pushed her inside her house and pulled in a room. The other one said he follows her from the bus, off the bus. So, you know, Georgia has a way of trying to incarcerate young men, you know, with the fear of not, if they don't cop out to the charges, they'll go ahead and really give you some time. Because they offered my son 10 years to say he did it. And I told him, man, you got to be crazy. How are you going to say you did something and you didn't do it? And because he didn't take that deal, they hit him with life plus 20. And I want you to understand, in the state of Georgia, you can get life if I take you from that room and take you to another room. That's called kidnapping. And for kidnapping in the state of Georgia, the only sentence they have is life. And so that's what they did to him.
Mr. Shabazz, can I ask you a really hard question? Not that it should matter, but are the girls that accused him, are they black or white girls?
They were black.
They're black.
They were black. Yes, they're African American, yes. They were young.
And is it the girls who identified your son?
One girl identified him. Said he looked like the guy that did it. This was the day after. And she seen her son in that area and called the police and said he looked like the guy that did that. And that was it.
And
he went to jail. They got the other girl, the little 14-year-old girl, and I understand she's 14 years old. So the police did a lot of coaching, and the attorney said, well, yeah, he looks like the guy too.
So you said DNA was never submitted in your son's case.
No, the DNA was submitted. And I'm going to read to you what the DNA came back. This is from the official paperwork, the report. And they said that the DNA contained the profile of one individual, and it was the girl. And then a secondary was indicated of a male donor was also present, which wasn't my son, it was somebody else, but they didn't allow that into the court because it was DNA from another guy, a guy she had sex with.
So the DNA, I just want to be clear, the DNA from her rape kit came back, but the DNA from the rape kit does not match the DNA of your son.
No, it doesn't. And what they did, they got another lab, and their statement was they couldn't conclusively say it was him, but they wasn't going to exclude him. So, in other words, that could be me, him, or somebody else. Because DNA is supposed to be exact. You can't say, well, it may be him, it's not him, but we won't exclude him.
And what about the DNA from the other little girl's rape kit, the 14-year-old girl?
They said it wasn't enough fluid, nothing in there to get a to take a test.
Nothing under her fingernails or anything like that?
Nothing. You know, it's really, to me, it was like a kangaroo court case. I couldn't believe that, you know, especially African Americans operated like that, you know. And it's bad that it was all black people and it wasn't no, you know, understanding about anything. It just, the VA was more focused on trying to get a conviction than find out what really happened. That was their mentality. From my standpoint, that's how I looked at it.
So they've given him life, right? Is there a possibility of parole?
Yeah, he's supposed to go out for parole this year. Maybe in a few months.
Okay, so what can take place now? What is it that you guys need? What is it that can be done to try to have them go back and relook at the evidence and the DNA and all that type of stuff?
He had the Innocence Project. They was working on his case. The county that has the evidence is withholding the DNA, saying that they can't locate the evidence now, which put a roadblock on the Innocence Project. Because they feel maybe that if they do get the conviction overturned, they may have to pay him. And I believe that's why the whole thing is taking a turn that it did with the Innocence Project. Because they had my son's case. And they stopped in their tracks. So now we're looking at, you know, actually trying to raise money to get another attorney. Now, there's a couple of attorneys who claim they may be able to do it here in Decatur, because a lot of them know how crooked this system is. And if you just check how many people in this state have been incarcerated for rape and spent 10, 20 years in jail and were finally released they didn't do it. And Georgia has a way of, if you get a conviction overturned, they want you to sign paperwork so that you won't sue them. See, that's the state of Georgia. See, so now with my son's parole coming up, They may want him to sign that paperwork in order to get out.
Did you have an attorney the first time during the trial?
Yes, I believe I had an attorney, but I lost a lot of money with this case, man. You know, it's actually, almost it bankrupt me, really. Because I couldn't believe, man, that something like this would happen, in this day and time. And they had another suspect, but they let him go. Because the description was he had on a white beater T-shirt, Timberland boots. How many brothers walk around like that?
A lot.
How many?
From New Jersey, all of them.
But this was we in Atlanta, and they were doing the same thing down here. You understand? So, really, the situation is boiled down to this. The Innocence Project is still fighting, trying to find a way to find that evidence. Because without that DNA evidence now, it's hard to get back in court to get a new trial or to get the conviction overturned. And they know that.
Mr. Shabazz, you said your son has been in jail for 20 years. How old is he?
He's 43 now. 20 plus 20, been there 21 years, I believe. He's 43.
So he's been there his whole adult life.
Yes, man. His children, his sons, are grown, and, they grew up. He missed all of that.
And he has 2 sons, right?
He has 2 sons, right.
And what kind of advice can you even give your grandchildren when their father has basically been gone for 20 years? Like that's systematically another Black man who wasn't there to raise his kids.
That's true. But the best advice I give them is to stay away from that system. Do what you got to do to stay out of that system. Because it's not fair. It's not fair. That's the new slavery.
So you were talking about his sons. He has 2 sons.
Right. One son, he has never, I did get a chance to bring him to visit him last Thanksgiving. But that was his first time seeing him since he was born.
Oh.
One of his sons. And he was like 18 or 19 years old. And it was just seeing him.
What was that like?
It's difficult, man, because he wasn't there, and the mother was having problems with him, and they moved out of state, and it was very difficult.
How is he doing? How's his spirits? How's your son's spirits? How's he?
His spirits are good now because he understands that time brings about a change. He was very bitter. The first few years, he was bitter.
Yeah.
But now, he's able to understand, that life takes some turns sometimes, and you have to be able to roll with it and make the best out of the situation. Because there's no need to stay bitter, and I wish he would have really had the zeal he had when he first went in that he has now.
Mm-hmm. How was he when he first got in?
He was bitter. He was frustrated, getting in trouble, all kind of stuff, man. Just mad at the world,
And rightfully so.
Yeah, because they took his life from him.
And different situation, different circumstances, but it's just it's so hard on the family on the outside, you know.
Yeah.
So my heart just goes out to you, man. And he does the same
Man,
thing.
listen, 20, he's lost, his stepmother, my ex-wife, his grandmother, and a few other relatives who passed away all this time, because when you're incarcerated, you can't do nothing, And I know it's hard on him because his grandmother just passed maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So if they do give this, have you all been discussing what he needs to say for parole and everything, or are you going to just remain?
I told him, for your freedom, if they even, because I've been trying to talk with a couple of attorneys, even if he did sign the document, he can still come back another way to sue them if he can get the case overturned. But to get back out on the street, I said, do what you have to do, man, for them to give you a parole.
Right.
Even if he sues them, there's no restitution that can be given to give back those 20 years.
There's no monetary, value that you can put on a man's life.
No.
It's nothing, man. So there's a horrible situation in America, and it's going on out in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all these southern states, New Orleans.
Oh, because they want slavery back.
Yeah. And really, brother, the prison system is their new slavery.
Yeah. Private prisons are. Get me started.
Say, hey, brother, that's what it is, though. Nobody they don't want to fess up to it, but they'll work you understand, in jail on a construction job and pay you $1 a day.
If that.
And that's getting top dollar if you're getting a whole buck.
Now, you asked about his son's mental health. Mr. Ali, how is your mental health? How are you?
Basically, sis, I've been through a lot, with a few illnesses, but basically, I gotta hold on. I gotta hold on. Because Ali, yes, that's my oldest son, but I have other children.
Oh.
Brothers and sisters that remember him vaguely. Vaguely remember him. And that's what I explained to him. I said, man, you don't understand. They were little kids, man, when you went away. So it's not like they really had an opportunity to bond and be attached to you like that.
How old are his siblings and how many of them are there?
Okay, on my side is 7. On my side, yeah, I got a little tribe, but there, he has a sister, 34, another brother, 30. He got a younger brother, 16, a younger sister, 15, and a baby sister that's 12. And he has an older sister, stepsister, that's 40-something, 43. No, she's 46.
Wow. So there's a whole family just waiting for him to come home.
Yeah, whole family. But you understand, all these years, and it's very, and it kind of tore the family apart, because I had to let go of a lot of stuff I was doing to try to focus on that, and it kind of tore everything apart, And for that, I feel bad about that, but I know in my heart, in my mind, I wanted to try to do everything I could to try to get him free. But the state of Georgia, they don't call it the dirty South for nothing. You understand? It's the dirty South for real, because they play dirty.
Mr. Shabazz, I believe in manifestation, so I believe in claiming things and speaking positively about things.
Right.
So when your son comes home,
Right.
what are the plans to just rehabilitate him back into the world? Because that is going to be a process.
It is. It is. And basically, like I told him, I said, at least you got, a little heads up on the technology. Cause
Let me ask you a question as far as fathering, parenting. I use because I have family. I think I overuse it, but I do tell my kids, especially my sons, do the same thing you said. Do whatever you got to do to stay out that system. You can't be the case inside behind them walls. And I know they're so young, but it's the biggest fear I have for them because it was the biggest fear I had growing up. That's one of the things that kept me kind of on the right track is staying fear of going behind the walls. Parenting advice for a father. I'm a younger father.
The main thing, man, as long as you keep them, focus on their education and get into some sports or something maybe that they might like. But that's the main thing now, and that will keep them pretty grounded. Like my son's youngest brother, he's 16 now, but I don't worry about him now because he was able to go down there and see his brother and see that situation. And so in his mind, he said, Dad, I don't never want to go there. I said, I don't never want you to go there. I said, because you see what it is. And see, sometimes that could be a deterrent, and sometimes you get some young boys, they think that's cool now. Going to the building, they think that's a badge of honor.
Damn.
And my thing is that until you experience it, you never know. And so, what I did, all of my, I made all of them go down there and visit, and then we used to have conversations. I said, look, man, this is how you're going to end up if you don't try to stay on the right path. Stuff's going to happen, but pick your company wisely. Don't hang out with the wrong kind of people, and just work on being positive, staying correct. Because, brother, that's all you got to tell them. Because, they're going to have influences, but if they're involved with things, man, especially with sports or something that will occupy their mind and keep them out of the riffraff, you got a shot. Because I'm looking at my 16-year-old, I don't even worry about him now. I just pray that he keep choosing the right company and he got work, he got a job now, he got a little work ethic, and that will, tide them over, man, as they grow older. But you always keep in their ear, every chance you get, man, as they get older every year, you keep in their ear, brother. Hey, man, keep doing this, keep doing that, baby, you're doing good. Keep on doing that, man. We got to encourage them and help them in the things that will keep them out of that situation.
Absolutely.
That's the best advice I can give you, my brother.
Mr. Shabazz, is there anything else that you want us to know?
Well, basically, I would like you to know that I really appreciate this opportunity, and I hope and pray that some good come out of this. I wanted to just let y'all know that anyway, the Innocence Project can get some help with retrieving that evidence. I believe we have a good chance for getting the conviction overturned. But in the meantime, if the parole come up first, I'm going to advise them to take it, and get back out on the street.
Yeah.
And try to live.
Yes. Will you please keep us updated? You have our email, and let us know what's going on with the case.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. All right. Thank you so much for having me.
No,
Thank
thank
you, sir.
All right. All right. Thank y'all so much. Y'all take
Praying
care.
for
All right.
you. You too,
All right.
sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep us updated, okay?
I sure will.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Courtney. I know that one hit home, but it's a conversation that I don't feel that we have enough. And we don't often know the faces. We might hear the names, we might hear the hearsay, but we don't really get to see it firsthand. So I think it's so important.
Yeah, that was rough.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Welcome to Cherie's World. On the show today, we will be talking to...
Mommy, I'm so hungry.
Welcome to Cherie's World.
What up, Cherie? Heard across the world. Welcome to Cherie's World. Heard across the world. Welcome to Cherie's World. Representing for every girl. Welcome to Cherie's World. Representing for every girl. Welcome to Cherie's World.